Welcome back to a Pairs Well Knitting tutorial. In today's tutorial, we're going to be learning how to pick up stitches from a fabric that you've created with your knitting. Today, you can use this tutorial for a cast-on edge that you've done or a cast-off edge to pick up stitches to attach more fabric to existing fabric already. I'm just going to be showing you before we get started where those stitches are, where you can pull your needle through. So one stitch is a V that's created with that edge. And that is what you're going to be poking your needle through, is that V, or it looks like two parts of yarn almost. And that'll act as the anchor point for our picked up stitches. As I'm going, this allows me not only to see exactly where those stitches are so I don't make a mistake, but it allows me to count as well out to see how many stitches I need to mimic my pattern. This way, I also don't need a stitch marker because I'm just using my needle to poke through and count as I go. So I've already got my needle poked through that V, or the two almost legs of knitting. I've tensioned my yarn, and I tension it pretty tight for me when I'm doing a pickup edge because I want these stitches to be nice and tight to the fabric. I don't want loose, like gaping holes between. I'm going to be using that needle again in my right hand to pull through, or I should say poke through that bar, those two bars, or the V, and work my stitch that I'm going to be casting on or picking up with my other hand and pulling through the hole. The hole is located just under that V, if that makes sense. And that is all we're doing for picking up the stitches. So again, I'm going to be using that needle. I'm going to be going under that V or the stitch and working my yarn around the needle and pulling it through that hole. And every time you might notice that with my hand where my yarn is tensioned, I'm giving it just a slight tug, just making sure that these picked up stitches are going to be nice and flush to my fabric again. I don't want anything loosey-goosey here. I use my index finger on my right hand to pull my tail just to make sure that I'm really happy with the gauge and tightness of my stitches. And I'm going to keep going through to the edge to cast on, or pick up, I should say, all of my stitches. I'm going to work right to the edge in this case, which is going to bring me to the corner. So it gets a little awkward here, not as easy as those other bars, but we've done it. So we've got all of our stitches. I usually would count my stitches to ensure that I've got the correct number according to the pattern. But we're feeling nice with it. And they are, for me, tighter stitches that I've done for that pickup edge. Of course, my first sequence of work, in this case, if I weren't to break the yarn, would be a wrong side row because this is flat. So I'm going to work purl just to show you how it's going to look. So I'm just working a little row of purls here. One more stitch, two more stitches to go. Lovely, just tugging on that tail to give me what it would look like. And onto the right side here. And we've got those V stitches matched up really nicely with the V stitches of the old work. There we are. That's our work. That's picking up stitches.